It's your boy, Ed the Dread, aka Eddie Money Mouth. And you are tuned in to the Money Mouth Podcast. Yes, sir. Bow, 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 bow. What's up, everybody? Happy belated Father's Day. And happy early Juneteenth. Let's go. Two holidays that are important to me and also kind of oddly intermingled with each other in a weird way. Father's Day. I got to talk to my dad for like 25 minutes or so. He was getting dinner made for him by my brother, and he was about to sit down and eat it with my brother and my mom. So he was stoked, right? Currently, my parents and brother live in Delaware. We grew up in Maryland. I actually was born in the same hospital as my pops. I am named after him, Edward Byron Hayden II. Wow. Again, he wore Vans in the delivery room and wanted to name me Eddie Van Hayden, and my mom was like, not having it. So here I am, Edward Byron Hayden II, right? Now, my dad is a white dude, and my mom is a black lady. So Juneteenth is also a thing that gets celebrated at my household. Yeah! Right? And Juneteenth is a celebration of June 19th, 1865, when Texas finally freed the slaves. And it was kind of so-called the total freeing of slaves in America. But we'll get to that and how that ties into my family in Delaware right now when we get there. But first, we're going to kick off the podcast today with some important lessons that I got from my pops, right? So again, I grew up in the same area as my dad. I kind of followed in his footsteps as far as running and picture taking, video. I enjoy print making as far as maybe like stencil and graffiti and stuff, but my dad was really into running, print, and photography, and like fishing and stuff. So he and my brother really share photography and fishing. And I don't know, he kind of did the printmaking on his own with his job at the Washington Post being a press operator for his entire career. And running, he and I have in common, right? So let's say we've got like 5 things that I'll say that my pops really instilled in me, which were very important lessons and are with me to this day, which I'll share with you. First off being, get there early, right? Be there early, period. It don't matter what time the thing starts. It don't matter what role you play in it. Be there early. That's the best way to be. If you want to stake a claim on the beach, if you want to get your favorite spot at the contest area, if you just want to impress your boss, if you want to have the things set up that you're presenting to everyone, be there early. It's the easiest way to do it. All right. We used to go to the beach for 2 weeks every summer to the area where they live now. And in that 2 weeks, we would be on the beach like the whole day. Now, if you've ever been to an East Coast beach in the summer, you know that it's packed with people who are there on vacation. And everyone's trying to be on the beach the whole day. So we used to just wake up super early, go down, stake the claim, put all the stuff down, maybe hang out for a little. Maybe even just leave me down there to hang and he go back, get breakfast or whatever. But, and my brother be involved as well. But, stake the claim was the thing that we did. So get there early. Today, I changed my own rear brakes. I also change my oil and filter every 3,000 miles. I cleaned my cleats and swapped out the ones that I played in games with the one that I practiced in. If you know me now or have ever been around me, you know that most of my stuff is pretty organized, clean, and you might even call me a bit OCD. That is because my pops told me and instilled in me to take care of the things that you actually love and appreciate, right? The things that you need in your life. He really liked music. Same as myself and pretty much everyone else in my family. But if you look at any pictures of him from back in the day, you'd see like record collections, right? You see his record player. You'll see stuff that he may or may not still have to this day. If you looked at pictures of his van from back in the day or basically anything, you would see that he took care of the things that he loved. If you look at the home that he lives in and where we at now and just for all of my existence, right? The things that are most important, he took care of. And was always conscious of when the things needed to be done with those things that are most important, whether it was cars, houses, whatever it be, right? Let's see. Work hard and don't be afraid to compete, right? Like work hard is one thing that everybody says is a good thing to instill in people. Okay, but like my parents both kind of gave me two really good lessons, which I've carried with me through life and made me become pretty successful in the things that I do and the things I try. One is, from my pops was to do your job so well and to work so hard that no one would ever want to get rid of you. And my mom always told me, it ain't what you know, it's who you know. So, I mean, you combine those two. If you're super hardworking and you know a lot of people and you're nice and you make a big network, things happen for you, right? But also, don't be afraid to compete. One of my oldest memories as a kid is just watching my dad take off running in the afternoons and evenings before we'd eat dinner, before he would go to work for the night. So, like, we would go to 5K, 10K races and watch him compete and just, see him run by for 10 seconds. And then we'd hang out with all of his friends that run too at the end of the event. Okay, so the competitive nature of myself comes from not only just the area I grew up in where it's super competitive and it's not like everybody's got the aloha spirit and all like slapping hands with each other, but also just from seeing my dad compete, right? He was never afraid to get into a race himself. So he'd be the first one to tell you to try as hard as you can for a race, but you can take that knowing that he also gave all that he could in a race, whether it was a 5K, a 10K. Shit, he ran the Boston Marathon in 79. He's run 50-mile races. Okay, just crazy. Fourth thing, have a job. All right, I know it sounds nuts, but damn, bro, all the industries I work in, other than education and music and videography and stuff, it seems as though the younger generation of people aren't willing to do them. I mean, I used to get made fun of by my dad and my brother that I don't use my hands enough, and now it's almost like everything I do, I use my hands, right? But younger people don't want to work; they don't want like to do labor stuff. It's kind of crazy. If you look at construction, plumbing, all the like more labor-intensive jobs on the island, they're mostly people older than me, and it doesn't seem as though there's going to be any younger people doing it. But one of the rules that he had of our house was if you're not in season, if you're not in school, and you want to live here, you got to have a job. Right? You'll always be welcome back anytime in your life as long as you have a job. Right? So I had my first job at 13. And I have this conversation with my homie Doug, who got me to move here, all the time when we work together. And it's like we both had our first jobs at 13. And people that don't really have jobs earlier in life and or don't have to work and just it's a completely different mentality. Right. So one of his things he told me was when you move out here, man, don't be afraid. You'll be able to get a job, because that was one of the things I was afraid of. I got to have a job. I got to have a place to live. I got to have all this stuff lined up. And he was like, with the amount of work that you do and are willing to do, man, you'll have 3 jobs and, you'll be doing more than most people that just skip work to go chase waves or lay on the beach, So have a job. I mean, the earlier the better, I would say, just to get that value of money instilled in you, right? Like you want like a $600 PlayStation, but you don't understand how much it takes your parents to get $600 to get that thing. Get a job and you'll find out. Yes, sir. Lastly, I would say that he instilled to support the things and the people that you love. I can say this, and I don't think that there's many other people on earth that can say this, but every single home soccer game that I ever played in my entire existence, my dad was at. I'll repeat that. Every single soccer game that I ever played in my entire existence, every home game, whether it was club, whether it was high school, whether it was college, both of the colleges I went to, or either the 2 professional teams that I played for, any club team that I played, anything, ODP, whatever, any home game that I ever played in, he was at, right? If it came to swim practice in the morning and there's 10 kids that don't have a ride, he'll take everybody in the van, right? It doesn't matter. But it's one of those things that, you just give that support because like you want that person to do well. So like if you're a close homie of mine, you know that I support my homies. Like it's gotten to a point where I'm kind of tired of supporting everybody else and giving out energy that's not really reciprocated. So it is what it is. But if you one of my closest homies, I got your back 100%. And, it's because my dad always had anybody's back that he was, a part of, and really instilled that in me. So, those things, be there early, take care of the things and the people that you love, work hard, don't be afraid to compete, have a job, and just support the people around you, support the people that you love. Those are things that my dad instilled in me. Happy Father's Day. Appreciate you, the anchor. Yes, sir. And now, again, like I said, my mom and dad both live in Delaware, which when it comes to Juneteenth, we'll say Civil War was what, 1861 to 1865. And I'm pretty sure the Civil War was fought because one half of the country didn't want slavery to expand as we expanded into the West as a nation and took everybody else that lived there's homes and land. And one half wanted slavery. So it was like, we gonna battle it out to see what's popping, and 2 years in, or like a year into the battle, Abraham Lincoln signs the Emancipation Proclamation in like September something of 62, I believe. And it stated that on January 1st of 63, that, all slaves would be freed from like everywhere. So, what has to happen for the people in the South to do that is like the Northern soldiers have to go enforce that pretty much. And, the Civil War happened, and fuck, I don't know. What was it? I don't know, man. Like U.S. history is ninth grade. Okay. It was like Robert E. Lee, I think. Robert E. Lee throws hands up. Robert E. Lee throws hands up, gives up Confederation to the Union. And then 900 days after the Emancipation Proclamation has been declared, Texas was the last state because, it's like the furthest away. It's all fucking big as hell and everything. And the Union soldiers aren't really having a stronghold there. They ain't really over there. So after 900 days, after that, 71 days after the Union beats the people, 24 days after the Confederate military has given up all stations in Texas, all of the slaves of Texas are actually freed, and they are the last of the slaves to be freed, which isn't even true, to be fair. And I don't want to take anything away from Juneteenth because we had the Juneteenth celebration here on Island Saturday. And it was beautiful to see everybody get together, connect, exchange information, and bond together to build with each other because there's not a lot of us out here. Again, it's like 1.8% of the island's population is African American, and that equals up to like 1,000 of us out of like, 300, 400,000 people living here. So we had a bunch of people out there. I served everybody coconuts. We all played music, had a great time. It was awesome. Right. But the reality is that it was the southern states that were forced to give up the slaves, and the border states, which were like West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Kentucky, and maybe Mississippi or something. They weren't in that you have to give up the slaves because, the thought being that they're already going to be doing it. Right. But the reality for Delaware and Kentucky was that they didn't. Right. Like they were like, fuck it. And it wasn't until December 6th, 1865 with the, the annexation or the amendment of the 13th to the Bill of Rights that the slaves were freed in those two states. So, again, Juneteenth, amazing celebration, and sad that, 3 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was put into effect by the President of the United States of America, that half of the country gives up people that they have enslaved for labor. But it is what it is, and with that said, I'll just touch on the fact that, people say, what does Black Lives Matter do? And what is this and that? And what is it? And when people don't actually know the history of how African Americans have been treated, it's things like that that we need just to put a spotlight on it. Because yeah, like all lives on the planet matter. We know that, right? And I'm the type of person that says every single person is the most important thing on earth and the least important thing on earth. You're both at the same time, right? But when you actually realize that people have been put in a position where the playing field isn't the same and the reasoning behind it is such because of, certain events and certain people, and it hasn't been that long since that has passed, it might make you have a little bit more compassion for the people that you see in the struggle, and or it might make you think differently about the things you hear on the news and or in movies and or music and whatever. Because uh like a white dude marrying a black lady in the 80s was not common in the East Coast, right? In a border state, Maryland, right? It happens a lot out here in Hawaii because, like, if you haole, the only thing you can do to make it look like you live here is to get married to somebody from here that's brown. Like, or you just gonna be a foreigner looking like a foreigner forever because that's just how it is. And no one's trying to be racist about it, but like, how can you tell someone was not originally from a place like this, like their skin is completely white? I mean, it's not, it's like looking at South Africa and going, well, these white people that say they're South African, you came from somewhere in Europe, and it's not, where you're not wrong when you say that, right? But you know, with the background of my family, these events, are important and also are like almost like a weird fence line that we play because I've had racism on both sides of my family, and it's made my nuclear family more nuclear. I'll tell you that much, and it's made my life be, not the easiest you've ever had. I made the best of it. I've been successful, and my parents tried the best they can to do everything that they can for me. But we've all had instances in our lives that have been not so great. So just remember that as we move forward. Every month now, it seems as though there's somebody's history month. And it's good to know the history of other people's cultures and respect them, if not, try to be a part of it when you're in that area living there, because without that, the stuff dies off and we all just become some freaking capitalist drones buying a bunch of shit, worshiping the dollar and OnlyFans and bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Nike swooshes. Right? So happy Juneteenth, everybody. Woo! Happy belated Father's Day, Uncle Ray, Charles, Tom Bomb. Let's see, Sharpie. You know what I'm saying? Big Dougie Doug, Travis, freaking High Credo, Christian. Yeah. All the homies I know that are dads. Big up to all y'all. Appreciate y'all for holding your sons down because it wasn't needed in the world. Right? All right. So that was your Money Mouth Podcast. I am your homie, Ed the Dread. Oh, actually, last but certainly not least, I have to stay true to Doug and Alec, my two homeboys, by posing a question for the end of this podcast. A question. And the question is, if Joe Biden and Donald Trump had a push-up contest, who would win? I think last election, Biden challenged him to a push-up contest. Let's put your votes below. All right, vote in the comments. Who would win? Push-up contest between Trump and Biden. I believe Alex says Biden. Doug says Trump. I say one of them's gonna lay down and not get up. The other might be able to get up and probably maybe not get his gut off the ground. Who knows? And that was your Money Mouth Podcast. And the Dread signing off. Yes, yes, yes. I'll bless. Hui ho kako be the best you. Yes, you. Ah. Bow, 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 bow.